Are you a business owner looking to grow your business in South Africa? Tune in to the Blaze podcast with Telkom Business. Learn from the experts and get tips on marketing, finance, innovation, and more. Blaze with Telkom Business.
Every business has its storms, unexpected challenges, market shifts, internal roadblocks, and so much more. On this episode of the Telkom Business Blaze podcast, we'll equip you with the right tools and strategies to navigate challenges within your business. I'm your host, Mashudu. Let's dive right in. So in studio today, I have some amazing guests, starting with Siwela, Head of Fixed Sales, Telkom Business, Strini Mandrini, Senior Manager for Diversified Sales, Telkom Business, and Mukundi, Lambani, who's the founder of Ambani. So great to have you guys here.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
What are some of the really big challenges that a lot of businesses faced last year?
I think load shedding was something that really impacted, our businesses out there. I think access to alternate, solutions for that was also a major contributing factor. So a lot of businesses closing down. They could not sustain their businesses because of this impact. So I think that was one key, challenge that I personally saw, with my experience working with SMEs, seeing that was a massive, challenge for them. And they were looking at alternate ways to try and overcome this. But unfortunately, the ability to access funds or to access alternate, solutions was not readily available for them, or alternatively, it was just too expensive for them. So we find that a lot of businesses closed because of that one impact.
Yeah. Sydney.
Yeah, no, just to relate on what Strini is saying. I mean, if you look at the petrol price, went up. I mean, interest rates, they constantly went up. They went up, I think, 4 to 5 times in the last year, and which also increased the cost to run your own business. Obviously, the overheads are going up. The cost of electricity, even though we had load shedding, but you also had, you're spending a lot on alternative power, but also over and above that, the bills on running electricity, when it comes back, it was actually double of what is. So it was inconsistency in relation to that. But I think most important, the energy sector was also hitting those businesses quite hard.
Yeah. Mukundi.
I think for people as well, so the everyday consumer, right? We are a consumer business, and so we have to think about what can our customers actually afford.
Yeah.
And I think that changed drastically. I think just the where the economy is and in terms of affordability for individuals. So we had to think about ourselves as a business and how we adapt to what our customers actually want and can afford to pay for.
Yeah, that's really important, having that adaptability, right? And what are some other sort of general strategies that you've sort of implemented in your own business? And I think for you guys, it's mainly for other businesses as well, that businesses are adopting to navigate challenges that you guys are naming. Mukundi, I'll start with you.
Yeah. So I think for one, it is the ability, because we're a startup, I think we've got a greater ability to be as adaptable as possible. But on one end, we had to think about whether we remain just a business to consumer, B2C business. We actually had to shift slightly to become a B2B business. So we had to think about who can afford what it is we do, who looks at it as a luxury and who looks at it as a necessity. And so we had to make that transition from just being a B2C to saying we actually also have this B2B component. I think the other aspect is being able to balance work from home with productivity. So I think we've been coming out of a very much work from home culture, and now we can sort of have those meetings in person again. So we've had to think about, while keeping our costs low, how do we still take advantage of this kind of work from home, but also make sure that we're on the ground meeting with clients. And so those are some of the things that we've done to try and be adaptable.
Yeah. Sydney.
And I think also the adaptability of the new ways of doing business was also, it's also a bit of a gap. And if you look at it from, banks took years to introduce ATMs. And people at that time took, when we're doing business over there. But now, of late, we're doing online business. And people still still have the fear of transacting online, although even COVID has forced us to transit in that awareness, education to customers is also was important, but also important for your business to say, guys, I'm not doing business online. I'm no more speaking to one-on-one call center type of business or anybody visiting my business, but I then can put in a request online, somebody then respond, or it's either a chat box or anything. But also that element is a gap that I realize that small businesses had to transact or transition from, technology-wise. And also that education and awareness of people to having the trust and faith in transacting online is also, well, it's a cheaper way because you can do everything over the phone. I mean, the banks are still battling to get rid of customers out of their branches to use them, on the app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strini?
Yeah, I think just to latch on to what Sydney is saying as well, I mean, we've seen it in our business well, not only internally, but we've seen that with customers as well. Like during the COVID time, you had your normal retail stores where you got customers coming in, with that one-on-one service. And I think the behavior pattern of customers changed, whereby they could now transact online, they could purchase online via e-commerce platforms. And businesses that did not conform or adapt to that change, unfortunately, they were left behind. They lost a lot of money, a lot of market share as well, by pop-up companies, that were inclined with technology and could adapt to that change and actually leveraged off it. So I think, adaptability in any market, I think in any business, is one of the key fundamental criteria, as an entrepreneur that you need to look at, and it's a consistent thing. It's not something that, we do, today and then wait for another 2 years. Because if you look at society and if you look at our marketplace, it's changing on a daily and a consistent basis.
And how can we forget also the reliable connectivity and network that is available for you to do that? It is all about that. Also, over and above that, and I think we mentioned earlier with regards to load shedding having an impact, because it does affect the network. But obviously, we need to have a stable net. But it has a ripple effect that also affected the businesses, in my view.
Yeah. Mukundi, I know we've been saying your business. I think it's important just to break down what that business is and how people can learn about it as well.
Sure. So the business is called Ambani Africa, and if you know the language of Tshivenda, that means speak. And what we are is we're an educational technology company. So we're an ed tech, and we really focus on creating resources for young learners to be able to not only learn a language, but learn in their mother tongue. So you find that particularly in South Africa, you find that only 8% of households actually speak English inside the home. But a lot of children get to school and they're doing this exercise of learning a brand new language and learning in that language at the same time. And so we're really trying to address that by creating digital resources. So we do that through gamification, animation, augmented reality, finding really fun and engaging ways for children to be able to learn, but in a way that's accessible and in a way that they can understand.
Yeah. Your business is a very specific one, and, it's mostly digital as well. Can you speak to very specific challenges that your business is facing? And I know you mentioned one earlier around being very adaptable and knowing and understanding your consumer and pivoting from, B2C to B2B. Can you speak about the process of being able to navigate that and doing it so successfully?
I think definitely something that was mentioned is being able to speak to our customers and consumers and make sure that, especially because we're working in schools, for example, but balancing what we're doing technology-wise with what they are willing and able to use and adapt to, and how we're actually educating that user to be able to say, yes, we're introducing this new technology. We're not just kind of placing it there and saying, this is cool, use it, but sort of saying, this is how this actually makes your processes easier. This is how it makes the process of teaching and preparing so much better, and making sure that they're actually using that in the classroom. So I think a big challenge has been that, we're sort of saying we use augmented reality, we use virtual reality, but do our users actually know what that is? Is that something that they feel is helping them in what it is? How is it helping them? Do they understand how that helps them? So I think definitely our approach and of course that education to the user has been a challenge and something we've had to address. I think also moving from being a startup to trying to find stability and growth in the business, it's a different way of thinking. And so you're kind of moving from this sort of constant, we're building, we're creating something, we're producing, to we're selling, we're distributing. And it's quite a different mindset. We have to think about how we're marketing, what we're doing online and offline, how we're distributing what it is we're doing, how we are speaking directly, continuously to customers. So I think that shift from being product-led to really being sales-led has been a challenge over the year.
Yeah. I think, when you think about your business, it's very much technology-based, and technology is integrated, and technology is part of the culture and how you guys operate. Strini, what does it look like when a business is a lot more manual, very traditional, an SMME that's still trying to figure out how technology can take them to the next level? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, thanks for that question. I think, look, as SMEs, we've got access to markets, access to information, which is widely available, right? The question is, what do we implement from there? I think the secret to that is partnering with the right, organization that have the skills, capabilities to actually offer you those type of services that you can, empower yourself with and take you to that next level at a faster pace. And I'm going to use an example, right? So we've got customers that are on the small, medium space that also needs to digitally transform, right? They have access to information, but do not have access to certain systems, right? Possibly from a cost perspective, but also from an educational perspective. So we've implemented certain CRM systems that can assist some of those customers. And because of scale within Telkom, we can get those products and services at a cheaper price. That's number one, which makes it beneficial to them as to them acquiring it on their own. And number two, I think we've got the capabilities to educate them of how to effectively utilize this. To give you an example, we've got a customer that needed to have, that did not have any data insights of their customer base and who they were serving. Using the CRM platforms that we provided through to them, gave them that analytics. And at the moment, data is the new fuel. Without data, you won't be able to serve your customers effectively. You won't be able to become more agile and more profitable. So these are some of the things which I think is important for entrepreneurs out there or businesses out there to understand. You have to choose the right technology partner if you want to scale up from a technology perspective and digitally transform at a faster rate to catch up with the rest of market.
Yeah, Sydney?
And I think it's more about understanding as well what are the benefits of having these technological services, because one of the things that I always say, we'll all talk these big terms, and today we're talking AI, we're talking digital transformation, but what does it do for me as a Maggie's catering company? It's about what the benefits that I could get out of that technology. And I think that's what is lacking. That's the gap that we have, because most small and medium businesses, they don't have I call it IT guys that can advise them to say adopt this product, unless if you coming from that environment. But if it's me, Maggie's catering company, my business is to sell food. But what I want to know is that there's invoicing services that you can get. There's payroll. There's other services that you can get out of these technologies. But it's about the how and the advice that you get in order, like Mukundi was saying, your business is more technologically inclined. But however, you probably coming from that environment, you understand it better. So for another person who's actually running the business, who actually take a doctor for that matter, all that they know is about medication, but they are utilizing the services that actually provide that up behind. But there's certain verticals that will have certain needs, because technology needs to move away from a one blanket fits all to specifics of to the business to cater those verticals. And I think that's where we need to adopt the technology towards to say we've got things that are available for I think professional services. We got agriculture and catering so that you could then which we say these are the benefits that you can get over and above the connectivity that we have. We've spoken about stability of the network and but what does it comes up with in order to make sure that it provides like Strini said, data is the newer fuel. However, what goes up on top of that data is more key to be able to provide the services that I need from my business, or be able to transition my business to ensure that I adopt, and also to make sure that there's efficiency improvement into that. So it's quite a lot of educational journey that needs to take place, but most importantly, the advice.
Yeah.
If I will have technology, I will get all these wires, the Wi-Fi's and everything in my business, but what do they do for me? You know, gone are the days when we used to say, I will sell anything that would, provide. I mean, IT guys would walk into businesses and sell anything under the sun. But when you sit down and ask you, what do I get these things for? They don't mean anything to me, but at the ultimate end, all I need is this and this and that out of the 10 things that I got out of them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Strini, I wonder if you could just go into, what's the experience of speaking to SMMEs when, they're trying to make that switch to get the right software and services into their businesses to make that really important shift. What are some of the questions that they're asking and the challenges that they're having that they want to solve with technology?
There's quite a few, I think. Look, we work we actually serve a very diversified, set of entrepreneurs, in the country. If I look at, some of the basic stuff, will my employee or my workforce be able to transition, to this change?
Yeah.
The cost of that transformation, would I be able to afford it? I think those are two biggest questions that we get, dealing with the customers. And I think I'll have to take it back to what I said initially. There's a lot of companies out there that actually offer parts of it. So choosing the partner, which I'll stress on, the right digital partner that's going to take you to that level that you need to go to, that services both your concerns, which I made reference to, is the partner that you should actually go with. But yeah, if I look at it in general, generally it's, will my staff and my sales force or my workforce be able to transition to that? And secondly will be the cost, because cost is quite high, especially with a lot of these technologies. And I think as well, a lot of our SMMEs, they believe that when they hear these big technologies, I mean, certainly spoke about artificial intelligence, we spoke about big data, for analytics. And when you hear that, as a one-man, two-man type of business, you think, oh my God, I'm not even going to touch that. Why? Because of the price and the cost, am I right?
Yeah.
So, and that's just because they do not understand what's out there and they're not educated enough. So I think also as corporates or, as businesses that work within this space, we've also got an entitlement to also start educating, our SMEs a bit more when it comes to these type of transitions.
Yeah, you actually brought up a really, really important question, and thankfully we have an entrepreneur here.
Yeah.
So, Mukundi, how do you help your staff and your team understand the power of technology and how it can affect you guys being able to do something better and be able to better serve your customers as well?
I think that's so tough, and I actually wanted to say, outside of educating and just that the importance of, as you said, a partner or being able to get some sort of advice, is also being able to curate that information, because as a company that's supposedly in the digital space and expected to sort of know, we almost have an oversupply of information, or we know that there's just, if we're looking for a CRM system, there's just so many out there. How do we take the time to know, and do we have the time to figure out what would work best for our particular business? So I think for us, it's also this idea of being able to curate and understand, like, this is what exists and these are the benefits, even for us as a digital company. But I think it's challenging. At the end of the day, you're working with people, and people will always do the thing they are most familiar with. So we've got instances where people are like, I just want to put this on a Word document and,
I'm comfortable
and
with
this
it.
is what I'm comfortable with. So even for us, it's a transition to say, this is how this will benefit you. This is how this will sort of improve our processes. We'll all be able to access this. And initially, there's that time benefit, right? That time investment that they have to make in all of us figuring out, how do we use this? And nobody likes to use something new and not know how to use it, and that frustration of that kind of learning uphill. And so even for us as a digital company, we face those exact same challenges.
Yeah.
Sorry if I may, transition, I mean, you're getting employees to adapt to the change, because there's always that notion to say, for example, today there's that notion that says AI is going to take,
Take
half
the
of
jobs.
job, But to get people then to adapt to the technology that you want to introduce in the business, they then start being resilient in terms of adapting to the change, but not knowing that in actual effect for you as a business owner, you want to cut your cost, but obviously to put it easier to market and also to expand your business. They're looking at it on a different way into says, hey, I'm going to lose my job. And I think it's that balancing of that culture that you need to bring in to say, when we're changing these strategies to say we're adapting to this, these are the reasons why we want to look at it. And if you get their buying in, easier to get the people to adapt to that change, to say it's not taking your job, but it's actually doing things differently.
Yeah. Reflecting on all the challenges that we spoke about, but also some of the solutions and how technology can, enable so much efficiency and help people be more effective. But there's also challenges that come with that, right? How do you balance the need for innovation and, moving forward, but also factoring in and balancing the potential risks that might come to your business as well? Sydney?
There's certain things that you may look into. One, it's about, today's world, we're talking about IT security, making sure that whatever you transit within the systems are secured. There's hacking and that we can, there's also that element of trust that people are trusting the platform that you trade in. At some point, the Facebook was one of the, where we say the scammers were sitting in there, and then if you want to market a business, and it's easily accessible. But now, people then started to say, no, I'm skeptical to buy online because of 1, 2, 3. Obviously, there's also an element of you being able to ensure that you, I'll call it, continue to innovate your technology to ensure that it actually, one, secured. I think those are a big, important part, and also trustworthy. Even banks today, they still continue to warn us about the phishing and whatever that is. So they continue to involve the technology because we need not to be complacent as a business. So I think for me, what is key is the security portion that needs to be, and that so that you could create the trust for people to be able to transact.
Yeah. Strini? Oh, you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Did I say everything?
I think you did cover it. Said and you covered it quite well. You spoke about the security aspect of things, and that's one of the major risks that we face with at the moment. As we, as a young, as young entrepreneurs, and we speak to quite a bit of them. These guys are very ambitious. And they're always looking at different types of things. To actually take their business to the next level. I spoke about artificial intelligence and how it can change businesses. There's open source AI, and a lot of these guys will start using these open source technologies to implement into their business. But again, that could be short-lived, because remember, as Sydney made mention, through the open source AI, there could be cyber attacks that come through that, and by not investing in the right technologies, and having the right securities in place, using open platforms, to aggregate your business on, can actually cost you your business. So those are important things, and I think you covered that quite well.
Mukundi?
Agreed. I think the other side of agility and adaptability and the ability to do things very fast is that there's that risk of, have we checked security? Have we taken the time to really test and make sure that what we've done is secure? So I think for us as a business, it's being able to take the time, even though we're trying to move really quickly and make sure that we're getting things done quickly, to take the time to kind of assess those risks, especially with security and information, and making sure that we're secure in that sense.
Yeah. So it's more of a step change. You don't just dive into it. So yeah.
You have to ease into it.
100%. Yeah.
But obviously to always do the checks and balances, continuous checks and balances, because if you put it in there, if you look at today, you always update your softwares and they pick up something, you also need as a business continuously to check if this thing is still secured as per, I look at other countries, they employ hackers to actually test their systems if they can easily be hacked and things like that. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So just finally, and this is more so just to help entrepreneurs and SMMEs navigate their challenges even better. In your experience, what are some of the common pitfalls that businesses should be very careful of when they are facing a lot of challenges, and how should they navigate them as well? Mukundi?
Maybe from an entrepreneurial perspective, I think entrepreneurship just on a personal level can be really a tough and difficult journey. And I think on one hand, being able to create a community around you, because challenges are there and they will happen, and you can certainly get different types of advice for those specific challenges. But I think just as an entrepreneur, your own personal resilience, your own personal ability to kind of know that challenges exist and know how to approach them. I think for that you need to create a community of advisors, a community of other entrepreneurs, other people to sort of say, this happens, this is how you address it, it's happened in my business before. You're not the first. So I think I would say, first of all, it has to start with you as the business owner, or you as the entrepreneur, to sort of build the type of personality that can endure through the challenges that are definitely going to come up.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's the key fundamental one is to innovate. Most importantly, before you innovate, obviously you need to research about your business and also look at how other people are doing it out there. Don't be complacent. Continuously look for information that actually, improve your business. Understand the environment that you're trading in order for you to innovate new ideas and also the way of doing business. Because out there there'll be somebody who might have a different idea of what to do. But again, to your point, have that community. Attend what they call it, conferences, to understand and learn about these technologies or any other innovative within your framework, so that you could then adapt to what's happening in the world and also the new things that are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a saying, you're as strong as your network, right?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely critical. And I think, if you bring it down to a child, a baby will need that environment, the family around them to actually leverage off, and that's how the child will generally grow. So your network is actually quite critical. But I think for me as well, I think is empowerment. We live in the age of information. Information is readily available. What is it that we utilize that information for? How do we use the insights that's available to adapt it to our business? How do we leverage off this information, to make us a bit more agile, to take our business to the next level. Because, and I tell this to my sons, so they've got a cell phone and, you've got so many hours in the day, and I ask them, so you've got a cell phone, at your disposal, that cell phone, how many hours of the day do you actually take to empower yourself? If you've got 6 hours in the day, and all 6 hours are spent on social media as an example, you're not empowering yourself. So I think as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, information is available. Make sure you take time out to empower, educate yourself, so that when you faced with decisions, you are able to make informed decisions based on information that's surrounding you. And also, in order for you to take your business forward, there's lots of case studies, and there's lots of information of other companies and how they transition. Maybe companies that does the same thing that you do. So yeah, I think for me it's empowering yourself, because that's where it starts.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So that's a wrap on navigating challenges within your business. We hope that you've gained valuable tools and inspiration to conquer any obstacles that come your way. Remember, the key to success lies in your perspective. Embrace the challenges, learn from them, and keep pushing forward. On behalf of the Telkom Business Blaze podcast, I'm Mashudu signing off. Until next time.